What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. All right, Jackson, let's talk some hoops, man. What do you got for us from the chat?
Yes, let's do it. Let's start with, there were a handful of Luka Doncic questions. Let's start with, why does Luka struggle versus big athletic wings? JB, JT, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins come to mind. How can Luka overcome this to win a championship?
So I've actually seen him have a lot of success against certain types of wings. I'm more worried about him against the shorter, more fire hydrant types of wings. I think Luka just had a bad game tonight. I think we can acknowledge that the Warriors played really good defense, while also acknowledging that Luka's capable of playing much better than he did tonight. I think both things are true. Jaylen Brown did a number on him in the Celtics game. That is worth stating. I thought that was different than what happened tonight. I thought tonight Luka was just bizarrely passive, a lot of pump faking, a lot of grifting, and I just didn't think he inflicted himself on the game as well. I thought the Celtics game was much more of like a Jaylen, stole his lunch money kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that there's also sort of a specific challenge for someone as smart as Luka to play against the Warriors.
Yep.
Where you have Draymond on the back line, right? When you have a guy like Wiggins or Jimmy or whoever, Moses Moody in the first half, playing good, solid defense on the back line, but someone like Draymond who knows exactly the read that Luka wants to make.
Yep.
And as one of the few players who can recover in some of those spaces, makes it specifically challenging, I think.
I thought that was a huge part of tonight's game, was Draymond preying on Luka's indecisiveness.
Yeah. All right, next one. This one has been asked in the chat like every single time we do one of these, so I'm finally going to get to it. Shout out to you guys for being consistent with the questions. Is it possible that Jimmy's impact will be bigger than Luka's this season?
No chance.
Yeah, that's sort of why I've held off on the question, because it seems a little Warriors fan-y. But I mean, I can understand the spirit of the question, because I think Jimmy does so many different things while Luka is just super, super elite at one thing, quote unquote. But come on, guys, we can be honest.
I mean, Jimmy wasn't exactly a world beater tonight either. Like, he made some plays,
right?
But yeah, anyway.
Right. Yeah, he was pretty passive as well. All right. Hey, Jason, how would you describe the difference between role players, and if there are levels to them being elite? Example: Derek White is a role player technically, but so is Jackson Hayes.
Okay, this is actually a really interesting question, and I think there's a bunch of different elements to get into. So I think consistency is a big one for me in terms of like role player talent, and that stems from like a versatility of talent. So if you are a specialist, let's say Buddy Hield, for instance, and you're not making your threes, your impact craters. But for guys like Brandon Pajemski, or I even think Austin Reeves falls into this category. These guys that kind of are like do all these like little things that can impact the game in ways that go beyond their shot making. And so I think that one of the underrated parts about it, like a Drew Holiday or a Derek White, is they're such great connective skill players because they can dribble, shoot, and pass really well, that even if Drew Holiday goes 0 for 3 from 3 or 0 for 5 from 3, he can have a couple buckets slipping along the baseline in the dunker spot as a guard. He can slip out of screens with Tatum and make plays in 4-on-3s. He can be the best defensive player on the floor in any given game. He can do all these like different kinds of things. So I think ultimately that's it. Like, can you be a versatile enough player to be immune to like the differences in shot result? And then I think the second piece of it is like legitimate upside. Like there's a difference between a Jackson Hayes, for example, and let's say a Bobby Portis. Like, Bobby Portis can go for 30 in any given game, right? You're not expecting that type of upside from a Jackson Hayes. Similarly, like DeAndre Hunter with the Cavs. He's playing a smaller role with the Cavs, but he also has scoring talent that can manifest in, he has 20 points in game 4 of a huge playoff game. Like, those are the kinds of things that I think are a little bit different, is like sometimes there are role players that can masquerade as stars for brief stretches as well. And but ultimately, I think the night-to-night versatility, the night-to-night reliability is the main separator between good and bad role players.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say I think the upside is a big one, and then also just diversity of skill set. Like even you can see it on the Lakers. Like Rui Hachimura is able to do a lot more things, even when he's not necessarily lights out from three, than Jackson Hayes is able to do. And then I also think just being super, super, super elite at something.
Yeah.
Like if you're just insanely elite at something, you can Jackson Hayes is good at some things, but he's not really elite at anything. Davion Mitchell is insanely elite at defense.
Yeah.
AJ Green on the Bucks, just insanely good at shooting, right? If you are like levels above your other role players of your similar type, then that can also sort of be a separator. Right?
Well, that's like the Buddy Hield thing. It's like I was watching Duncan Robinson today, and like there's a level of like consistent shot making with him that is different, that literally brings two to the ball every time, and the Heat can like build an offense out of it. You know what I mean? Like to your point, like like there's specialists and then there's specialists. there's another level to it.
Right, exactly. All right, what team other than the Cavs and the Celtics has the best chance to win the East? And / do you think any team other than the Cavs and the Celtics?
Dude, I think there is such a massive chasm between those two. I mean, if I had to pick one, I would take the Knicks, I suppose. But like at this point, I is there any more sure thing in this playoff picture than a Cavs Celtics conference finals?
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. Hey Jason, love the show. What are your ideal quote unquote basketball fantasy first round matchups for the East and the West? Just best possible basketball.
Okay, let's pull up the standings here. Best possible basketball. I don't want the Lakers and Warriors to face each other in the first round for two reasons. One, I'm terrified of them, which I said before tonight. I want the record to show. I said I was terrified of the Warriors before tonight. But I also just think it'd be a waste to have one of them get eliminated in the first round, because I think they're two of the top 6 teams in the NBA. So I'm gonna go with this. I think Lakers Clippers would be a really fun first round series.
Yes, I love a Lakers Clippers series.
Nuggets Timberwolves. Warriors Rockets. Thunder Grizzlies. The case there, Warriors Rockets, you have the Dylan Brooks rivalry with Draymond.
Yeah.
The Thunder Grizzlies thing, there's the Ja Morant's not going to let everybody sit there and talk about how amazing Shea is for 2 weeks. With with Lakers Clippers, we get the playoff series we've been begging for ever since Kawhi signed with the Clippers. And it was Timberwolves Nuggets. We get to round 2 of that incredible 7-game series we got last year. In the East, I'm going to go with Indy Milwaukee because they hate each other. I'm going to go with the Knicks and the Pistons because they will hate each other by the end of that series.
Oh, yeah.
And then Celtics Heat just because that's fun. And then Cavs Magic because they hate each other. So I think that would be the perfect series. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with most of those. I said this on another mailbag we did, I think, that I really want Pacers Pistons. It just feels very old school. I don't know. There's just something fun about it. And I also feel like it's a series that Cade can win, and I'm just more and more a fan of Cade every time I watch him. So that's definitely one in the East for me. All right, let's do a couple more. This one is why you sort of touched on this a little bit in the Lakers segment of the show, but why does Luka foul bait on seemingly every shot? Is it a mental thing right now?
Yeah, I literally think he doesn't trust his short range shot making. Like he's shooting 14% less than he did in the postseason last year, and his volume is about a third what it was in the playoffs last year in terms of like short range shot making, which is such an important part of his game. And I think that in general, players tend to get more grifty the more they're struggling. Yeah. Because you're literally just trying to manufacture offense out of nothing. And it's just that was kind of the bizarre, that was the griftiest I've ever seen Steph play tonight. Did you see that?
Yeah,
he was flailing on every single shot attempt, which by the way, my thing is if every other guard in the league is doing it, do it. This is not, I don't blame the players for this. I blame the refs. You're going to stop doing it if it stops working, if you stop getting rewarded with free throws for it. But yeah, I think Luka, man, it's been such a bizarre experience rooting for him because he's had some nights where I'm like, this guy's fucking incredible. But then he's had other nights where I'm like, this is so bizarre. Like, why are you watching your teammate like give everything he's got and to try to keep his team in this game in LeBron, and you're just kind of like jogging and going through the motions.
It's
Like,
a lot of jog up the court.
where's the verve, man? Like, it just wasn't there. It was bizarre. Weird Luka game.
Yeah, it was a very strange game. All right, let's close with this one. Hi, Jason. Huge fan of the show. Was wondering which three players you think deserve to be DPOY candidates and why. I mean, the odds are certainly on DraftKings are certainly heavily favored towards Draymond and Evan Mobley, with Dyson Daniels being sort of a distant third. I've heard some Lou Dort conversations because of how good their defense has been. But what's your take there?
I was listening to Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe this morning, actually. And by the way, I'm not sure if you had a chance to check that out yet, but dude, Zach is so fucking amazing. He's so good.
It's so great that they're back together. It's awesome.
As I was listening to that, I was like, dude, this guy is just the best at what he does.
100%.
But Bill actually had a really interesting point about Lou Dort and his ability to basically just cut the head off the snake every single night. And that sort of player like never wins DPOI. Because like even when Marcus Smart won it, like I didn't think he was like cut the head off the snake guy. He was more of like defensive playmaker type of guy, you know?
Yeah. And just guard Draymond at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And so I kind of find that to be an interesting case. And I thought Bill's whole point about like his ability to cut the head off the snake as a type of value, I thought was really fascinating. I just think when I watch Draymond Green, I just think he's better at defense than Evan Mobley. And like, look, I've watched a lot of Cavs lately. I just watched them the other day in the Knicks, or this morning in the Knicks game, and like, I just think Draymond is a more disruptive defender. I don't think Evan Mobley could do to the Lakers defensively what Draymond Green did to the Lakers. Like Dyson Daniels, really good player. I think he's got a ton of offensive potential. I've been talking about that on the show a little bit. His shiftiness and his kind of like short range. He's got a little bit of that Ja Morant pop off the ground in the short range and make a little floater kind of thing.
Yeah.
He obviously is a wrecking ball on defense, but I think Draymond does more to damage a team's offense than any defender that I watch in the league.
Yeah, I agree. It's like if you were just saying Evan Mobley guard one single possession, I might be like, yeah, okay, maybe take that guy. But just in the whole construct of the game and the ability to understand on the mental level what the other team is trying to do and wanting to take those things away, it's been cool to see him get the credit again, because they had a couple of weird seasons and he was hurt a couple seasons in a row, so he wasn't getting the games threshold, and also he was doing a lot of stuff, silly stuff on the court that was sort of taking away from his sort of perception around the league. But it's great to see him sort of get the credit again, because they kept talking about it on the broadcast tonight, how he's trying to get 10 all defense selections and become one of the few players to have that honor. And I hope he gets there, because he has been, I think, pretty unquestionably the best defender in the NBA of the last 10 years, 15 years.
I totally agree. And like the point you made about last year and the behavior is so fascinating, because like I just kind of got a little bit of PTSD. Do you remember all the little shit he did last year? I still remember him getting himself ejected in like the first quarter of a super important game down the stretch, and like Steph just like looking down at the ground, like so dejected from everything, and like he's just had his act together this year, and he's just been awesome, and a bunch of credit to those guys too for battling through a pretty limited roster in the first part of the year as well.
100%.
All right, guys, that's all we have for tonight. As always, we sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting us and supporting the show. We're taking the weekend off for you guys to enjoy the tournament. There's no nationally televised games other than NBA TV until Monday, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm actually going Monday night with Kevin O'Connor. So if you want to hear me talk some college hoops, that's the place to be on Monday night. But Hoops Tonight will be back on Monday morning. Jackson and I will be back. And then next week, we got a bunch of huge games to cover as we get into the final stretch of seeding. And then in the week after that, we got our series previews and play-in tournament that we'll be covering. So lots of interesting stuff on the horizon. Again, I appreciate you guys for rocking with us, and we will see you on Monday.